You played by the pool one day and played in the lounge another time.
And you guys stayed. I remember. When does the flop house come in? Because
Oh, that was Key West. They did it every year in April.
yeah.
The first year I went.
So I know you. Yeah, you guys went down there. It's a week. It's a week
Well, it's to
long.
Margaritaville in Key West.
Yeah.
And what they had an apartment upstairs they called the Flop House.
I know. I've heard. I don't think we should tell too many stories.
No,
from
it's
that.
just crazy.
Well, because there are some that are questionable, and some people might not like it.
Yeah, it was just crazy. It's just you had 5 guys staying in an apartment with 2 bedrooms for like a week.
I'd say some of the funniest fucking stories I've heard from you probably come from that
Oh,
flop house.
God, yeah.
Especially when they involve Johnny.
Well, he used to get knocked around a lot because he come in being obnoxious in the flop house. One night, Billy was complaining because somebody stole the mirrors off his scooter. Those guys drank like fish. Johnny comes in drunk as a skunk 3 a.m. with a set of mirrors and throws them on the bed. Here,
Oh my god,
he stole them from another scooter.
what the fuck is he doing?
And one night, I remember there was a girl in there. It was like she was a local stripper or something, but she wanted to take pictures with the band.
Mm-hmm.
And Donna came in. That was the first year. My wife swore up and down that she grabbed my ass.
Oh,
And I said, no, she did not. And she didn't. But Donna was drinking. She's like, she grabbed your ass. I'm like, no, she did
well,
not.
that was the thing about the Key West trips is that it was booze filled.
These guys, it was because I didn't drink.
Yeah, yeah,
But I had it made. I was the only guy that left there with money in my pocket.
yeah. Because you didn't party your face
Well,
off.
you didn't make a lot. We made like $600 a piece for the week.
But that was another thing. Even though you were playing, it's like it's almost like a nice little getaway. Also,
Yeah, and you played 6 nights straight. By that last night, you had it, man. You would just go in that 2-hour set just to get through it. But then I would go down to Captain Tony's. My buddy Tim Bender was a sound man for us.
Mm-hmm.
He had a gig down there, and he used to just give me the guitar, and I'd be playing. He'd just walk off. He'd be on the other side of the beer drinking. I said, about time you come back yet? And he'd smile and give me a thumbs up. No, that's all right. And one afternoon, I played all goddamn afternoon. And then you go up the street, to Duval Street, to the Bull, Yankee Jack, God rest his soul.
Yeah,
He was a
gone.
big, huge, fat man with a Panama Jack hat. But he came down from Massachusetts as a country musician. He ended up in Key West because he left his wife. Long story. But he loved me. So I would get on the Bull, and I'd say, hey, Scoot, why don't you come up do a few songs? I don't have a guitar. Oh, well, I happen to have one right here because he played keyboards, but he played guitar. And I'm like, oh, God. So many times he had like a 4-hour set. I'd end up doing the whole day with him.
Yeah.
And then I go back. Now, you would do this at those day things just to sit in. Then you get to turn around and play all night.
Well, he's another one of the ones, like, I met him, and he was a super nice guy.
Oh, but he made a whole career for himself down there. He had like 12 CDs, and they were all hate songs about his wife. And I can't get over you while you're still under him.
Florida's the right place for
Bob
him.
Talks Bimbo.
Oh, my gosh.
She never hugged a parakeet, but she kissed a cockatoo.
Oh, my God.
It was all songs like that. But his show involved stopping, talking to people in the crowd. Look him up. I'm telling you, they're online.
I've heard him play, but I was always working when he played, so I don't think I was
Let me
really,
tell
like,
you
listening.
something. Go and look up Yankee Jack, some of the recordings. You'll hear them.
I'm going to check it out because it sounds
Manatee Woman
so funny.
was about a fat girl on the beach that said she was a mermaid.
No, nothing wrong with fat ladies.
No. She was a fat woman on the beach, and she was walking around. She was crazy. She was walking, aren't I beautiful? I'm a mermaid. And she kept doing it to people.
Oh, my gosh.
And he was sitting there go, oh, there's a song there. So he wrote a song called Manatee Woman.
Different generation.
Which Manatee Woman, the Baha House did a cover of Manatee Woman on one of their CDs. We used to do it all the time. But, yeah, that was fun times, too.
Yeah. It sounds like it.
Because he had a show at the Bull where he died fittingly. He was on his way to the Bull. He got there, didn't feel good. He had a heart attack and died at the Bull on his way to the gig. But he was like 65, but he was real overweight. And,
Yeah, he was a big guy.
But
he was a big guy.
But he was instrumental in getting the Baha House to Key West.
Oh, yeah?
It was him. When we sent equipment down, he would bring some of it to his house when it got delivered, and he helped us.
Yeah.
He was a true showman. He would
Nice
stop
guy.
and say, hey, where you from? To people, we're from Colorado, and blah, blah, blah. And he'd make little jokes, and, You know, some people he didn't rub the right way. I can tell you that. But it was part of his act. He was like almost like a pervert kind of guy, you know. But it was just part of his act. People never, they'd come in, you know, hey, show us your tits. And people would go up on the stage and whip up their shirts.
Oh, no shit.
They did it in Key West, the Margaritaville was all the time. Ladies would come in, not too flattering, some of the older women, and, you know, they would just, everything be hanging.
Fuck it, they're having fun.
But they'd flip up and you'd see boobs, you know. I'd be,
Yeah, they're all having fun.
I'd be like this, boobs, boobs, yeah. Okay, enjoy it, you know. But I had a nice time because during the day I'd get up and walk, you know, get out of the flophouse, walk over to the local Starbucks, have a cup of coffee, do some people watching, and walking around the town during the day and check things out and talk to different people, musicians on the street.
Yeah.
And the good thing was when we got done, I go across the street to Willie T's, and there'd always be a good band over there.
Yeah.
They had a guy doing like Hendrix music over there one time. He was real good. And then we'd go down the Green Parrot sometimes late because they were open from 12 midnight. Well, they had bands from 8 to 12, and they had a band from 12 to 4. Mm-hmm. They would close at 4 a.m.
Wow.
And sometimes, you know, everybody would go to Mr. Z's Pizza after gigs and shit about 2 in the morning. It wasn't even that great, but it was the best pizza you ever had at 2 in the morning, you know?
Well, yeah, when drunk people don't care.
Jay said to me one day, he goes, get the roast beef with sharp provolone. I brought that back to the Flophouse. It's the greatest thing I ever had, you know? No, we had a lot of fun. I met a girl from England one time I was talking to. She lived on Penny Lane.
Oh, no
She was
shit.
an Oxford
That's
English
cool.
teacher. Her name was Jennifer. She was really cool, and she liked me. But
that's a cool fucking place.
I didn't do anything. I never cheated my wife. I just walked her back to the hotel room.
Yeah.
And I said, very nice meeting you. Because I said, I don't think you should. I wasn't trying to pick her up. I don't think you should walk down here by yourself.
I've known you my whole life. I've never known you to be a cheater.
No, but I said to her, I said, I don't think you should walk down there right now by yourself. So I just go to, that's very nice of you, Steve. I met her over at the Yankee Jack Club. So he's doing a proud to be an American at the end of the day, and everybody's up there like with their American flags, and she's just sitting at the bar. So I walk over and I says to her, hey, you're not from around here, are you? Well, I'm from England. I said, so you don't get any of this? She goes, no, it's just you Yanks. I don't know. So I says, well, we're playing down at the Margaret. Come on by. So those guys thought it was a big deal. She gets a table right up next, you know, and she's got her legs crossed. She got this short thing on, sitting right in front of me. They're like, oh, my God, he's got a woman down. No, don't stop
Don't
that.
say that shit.
I said, that's not what's happening here. I said, and then when I got done, well, she come up to Jay, and after the first song, she goes, he's quite good, isn't he? Like that. And she had such a cool accent. I just want to talk to her because she taught Oxford English, so it was real proper English. It was just, she goes, where do you live? Penny Lane. Oh, no, I live on Penny Lane. I'm like, oh, my God. Shit, they had a Beatles festival every year.
Yeah.
Bands from all over the world, Beatle cover bands.
Blow your fucking mind.
She said there was one German band that came in that was so good.
Really?
Yeah, and they had Japanese bands, like, you know, Beatle bands. They come up from all over the world. It was like a big festival of Beatles bands.
I got to get around the world. I got to see some stuff.
When she told me she lived on Penny Lane in Liverpool, I couldn't believe it.
That's super cool.
The Penny Lane? She goes, yes, right down the street is that famous picture was taken right near my house.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, my God, it's crazy, right? So this is what happened to us in Key West, all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah, that was a whole thing.
I mean, you always had fun stories. I know that, like...
and it was tough because I was bringing up my little girl and my wife at home. Yeah. We had our problems, so it was tough leaving home and doing that stuff. Yeah. I remember her coming... I'd come home at 2 in the morning, get up at 5 for work, a lot. Yeah. And she'd say, did you even come home last night? I said, you were asleep when I came home and you were asleep when I left.
Yeah. Well, I know towards the end of it, it kind of got...
Yeah. One night we were sitting in Connecticut. Me and the drummer were in a McDonald's like we're doing. So he was getting gas, the driver, and we're just sitting there. And I goes, it's like 11 o'clock at night. We're in Connecticut. I said, you go to work in the morning? He goes, yeah, me too. And I had to be to work at like 6 in the morning.
And you guys weren't young guys.
No. It was 2 in the morning in Connecticut, and I had to be to work at 5.
Yeah.
Or 6, rather. So I went home. It was like 4:30. I went up, had some coffee. I did a few things and got in the car and went to work.
That's nuts. Yeah, that's nuts.
You could do that whole thing for about 4 nights of the week, and then you were done.
That sounds miserable.
I would remember I would come home on the last day, on the Monday after Key West. I'd take the early flight out, And all I could do, my wife said, something wrong? I said, yeah,
I'm fucking tired.
I would just be staring, sitting there. Did something happen to you down there? No, I yawned.
Yeah, you know, I could imagine it starts to kind of affect your fucking home life.
She started thinking that I had all these girls on the road. But it's like that picture on Facebook. They had Hambler put it on from the Freeze Pops. There's a picture of a guy with a bunch of girls around him and all this. And it said, the caption says, what our wives think we do.
Yeah. And
then the next picture shows a sad little guy moving equipment. Again, what we really do, you know?
That's true, because I've seen it throughout the years.
Going back to Destiny, though, we were drinking. Like, we'd pack up the equipment. It'd be 3 o'clock in the morning. We'd be passing around a bottle of Jack Daniels, just talking.
Crazy, man.
I don't know how we lived.
Well, you made it.
The Bahas,
look, you got a lot of good stories too.
The Bahas are some of them are in their mid-60s, and they're still riding around in their van with the case of Bud Light and getting drunk and going home. I don't know
how those guys still do it.
Yeah, but they don't lift any equipment either.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a guy that sets them up, and they just come out of the bus and play. Mm-hmm. But they would do stupid things because, like, they would go across the street when we were playing at the Casino Wharf down in Falmouth, and they'd be having beers and eating or whatever, right? Now, and then he'd show up right before we play, and Billy'd be fooling with all these chords. Something wouldn't be working. I said, they come in, you ready to go? Yeah, all my stuff's ready to go. Yeah. I said, you should come a little early and make sure your stuff is working.
Yeah, quit fucking around. We got a show to do.
Because Joe started setting up Johnny's drums, and sometimes, this ain't right that anymore. I said, why didn't you come over here sooner?
Yeah.
I'd be out in the hallway where we changed, because it had some echo effect, and I'd be playing guitar for like about a half hour per hour.
Getting warmed up, yeah.
And I learned how to drop an E string down to I'd put a capo on a second fret, and just leave the E alone, it's almost like a drop E.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like you'd be playing a D, but it's really an E, and you'd have the E.
Oh, yeah.
So it'd be thick sound. And I sat there, and all the stuff I'm doing at home, like I'm fooling around with the guitar now, I learned how to do all this while I was sitting in that hallway in the Casino Wharf, Yeah, because I'd be waiting for those guys. I'd be real near playing. I'd be sitting there going, what the fuck are these guys? I'd be getting mad.
Yeah.
Because we had the shirts out there, and we just change out in the hallway.
Yeah.
And
well, Dad, we've hit an hour. So,
yeah.
It goes by fast when you have
good
fun.
times.
So, I think this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and end the story here. And I'll have you come back on again another day.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll talk about kind of the end of the Bahas and then what you did after.
I did some more solo work after that.
We'll talk about it later.
I could tell stories about that, too.
I know you can. We'll get to that. But I appreciate you being here twice and coming on and doing this.
Someday you might see a book.
Hey, I'll be there. All right, Pop, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Break On Through Podcast. Please follow us on Instagram at breakonthrough_pod and on Twitter at Break On Through Podcast. All music was done by myself on guitar and Justin Keith on drums. Follow him on Facebook and Twitch at UWU Mothman.